Oh, here we go. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, that should work. Can you guys hear me? Let me know. Sorry about that. Good. Lovely. Why is this not working? Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to do a bunch of stuff. If you guys have questions right off the bat, then we can do those before I get to what we plan to do today. So if you guys have those questions, put them in the chat real quick. Or let me know in the chat real quick, and then put them in the Discord, whatever it is. But it's just me tonight, so I'm not going to be able to do everything really quickly all at once very easily. But yeah, just let me know what you want. Turn that off. Okay. First we're doing exponential growth and decay, I guess. Exponential growth and decay. So looks like it's U2 at the moment, Xvolo and Internet Shortcut. So if we're going to have a dress, it's $75. That's what we're going to try to buy. $75 dress. And then we're going to say there's a, that's not the best way to do that, 20% discount. What is the new price of the dress? New price. That's what we're looking for. Now, most people, what they do is figure out what 20% of 75 is and then take that off from 75, which is how we can start here. We can say that we have 0.2 times 75, and whatever this is, we'll subtract it from 75, right? Because it's a discount of 20%. So we're going to do 75 minus 0.2 times 75, which is fine. This is great. This works, but it's not very quick, and it doesn't show you things super well. It just shows you, okay, here's my original, and I'm subtracting this exact amount, which I did math on first. I want to, in this case, we can actually substitute out a 75, and it'll get us to this, 1 minus 0.2. It's not necessarily that important for you to understand how we got from this step to this step, but this should make sense, because this is the same thing as 75 times 0.8, which, if you think about it, if you have a 20% discount, that means you're paying for 80% of the dress, which means you're going to say 75 times 0.8. So this is the new price of the dress when you've taken a 20% discount. What this means, this is a decay problem, because we've taken off 20%, we get 0.8. If you take off another 20%, so say it's not a dress, but you have a culture of 75, and this could be in millions, 75 million bacteria thingies, and then they're dying off because they're just, bacteria die just like everybody else. So you start at 75, and 20% die in the first hour or something. So we'll say that now we're at 20% less, or 80% of the original. So this is our new number. But now whatever this number is, and let me think about this. This is take off 1/5 of 75. 1/5 of 75 is 13. No, it's not. What am I saying? It's 15. So 60, right? So this goes to 60. And then we're going to say, okay, another hour later, we have 20% off again, which means 0.8 of 60. And that gives us whatever that is. I think it's 48. And then we take from there, the next hour it'll be 0.8 of that, and you go from there. But the faster way to do it, we know that 0.8 times 75 equals 60. So all we really need to write is 75 times 0.8 times 0.8 times 0.8. So every hour, you're multiplying by 0.8 again. That is where the exponent comes from. Where is Brady, iCrush? Brady is out tonight, and so is Brendan, so it is just me. So you can ask questions about them if you'd like. All right, you can ask Brady tomorrow where he is. It is too bad. I agree. Can't remember the last time I did an entire stream alone. It's been a while, for sure. Anyway, 75 times 0.8 times 0.8 times 0.8. So this is the origin of the exponent for exponential growth and decay. Now notice this is the 1 minus... Did you resub? I don't know. I didn't say anything either. That's strange. Yeah, that is strange. I don't know why. I'm sorry that nothing has happened. Oh, this is going to be annoying all night long, isn't it? Thank you, Sketchy Hat Man. Okay, so we'll put you in the queue here. Sketchy. If you did resub, thank you, iCrush. I'm sorry, I don't know why it didn't show up anywhere. But I will tell Brady. So 75 times 0.8 cubed works as well. Yes, and that's where we're going with this. So that's the equation we've derived now, is for decay, we're going to have our principal. So let's call it P. So we'll say our current balance of whatever the thing is. So this is our current amount of bacteria or whatever else is going to be your original number. So in this case, the 75 times 1 minus decay. So if it's a 20% decay, 50% decay, whatever you do, you subtract it from 1, raised to the t power. Does that make sense? That's what you wrote there. So that's what's happening in this case. But the same thing works for growth, but instead of subtracting from 1, you add to 1, which makes sense to me. So let's say that, what goes up? Like what gains, and I don't know why you would add price. Can someone give me an example of something that grows by percentages? A child? I don't know. Children grow. I'm not sure if they... No, that would be... People don't grow exponentially. That would be... Just get too tall immediately. Not immediately, but very fast. Obviously. Yes, of course. Thank you, iCrush. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know why that did not occur to me immediately. Literally the most common example on both tests. Okay, so you're going to start with money. And if you had a 20% increase, that'd be dope. So let's not do that because it's the same number as before. But Internet Shortcut or iCrush or anybody, well, iCrush, you're done, just kind of hanging out, right? If we have a, let's say a 3% increase on some bank account, and it's a 3% annual increase, then let's build an equation for that. And let's say that you initially, you want that bank account? Yeah, you do. 3% is pretty good, dude. Depends on what you're doing. Yeah. Like a really, really good CD. Something like that. So now we're doing growth. Growth, let's say that we're here and we're starting with $1,000. So deposit equals, does that have an E? Nope. Does not. You guys should have stopped me before saying something dumb like that. Deposit, let's say $1,000. So we're going to start with $1,000. And then if we're doing a 3% increase annually, did I spell that wrong anyway? Yes, I did. I get much worse at spelling when I'm not with Brady, I do believe. It is. Oh, whatever. I don't care, really. So a 3% increase would mean we're going to do 1 plus 0.03 every single time. And then every year, we're going to raise it to that same thing again. It is annually. Thank you. I don't know why. Wait, is it okay if my question doesn't... Oh, yes, Sketchy Hat Man. You can ask whatever you want. I'm just going to finish the growth and decay first, and then I'll get to your question, and then I'll hop to the reading section stuff. But yeah, you can ask stuff about whatever you want. If you do have growth and decay questions now, certainly ask them now. This is so annoying. I hate... So our chat just doesn't scroll down, so as soon as we get enough questions in the chat, it just doesn't scroll. Which is so ridiculous. Reload the page. Yeah, we've done that, and it doesn't make the difference. It doesn't make any difference. So we're here. So in this case, it'll be 1,000 times 1.03 raised to the t power. Now, the important thing here is you don't need to know all of these things just to find the balance. They might say you have a deposit of $1,000, 3% annual increase, and then how long does it take to get to, so what is this? How long till the account balance is, I don't know, let's say $1,500. Let's say it doubles. What is it supposed to be around? Like 10 years it doubles? Or is that at 7%? That's at 7%. So let's just say 1,500. I'm also not going to fully solve this. But if I'm asking how long it will take to get to 1,500 from 1,000 with a 3% annual increase, and how long in years, rule of 72 divided by 3. There we go. Thank you. So in this case, we're going to build an equation. It's all about equations. Where did I put the blue marker? I don't have a blue marker that explains that. I should stick with this. So in this case, we're going to have 1,500 because that's what we want the whole formula to equal. So 1,500 equals that original $1,000 deposit times 1.03 raised to the t power. And then you solve for t. So in this case, you could take the log of both sides, or sorry, divide by 1,000, take the log of both sides, solve for t that way. So let's do that real quick. So we're going to have divide by 1,000, divide by 1,000. Those cancel, that cancels, that cancels. This is 3 over 2. So I'm going to go up here now. 3 halves equals 1.03 raised to the t power. Let's take the log of both sides. And then you get t equals log base 1.03 of 3 halves, and that will be the amount of time it takes. I'm not going to figure that out, but there you go. Any questions on this? This is now I will write up the final little thing here. So decay, you subtract from 1 in those parentheses, and then you're multiplying. This t is just representing the number of times you do this thing, the number of times that multiplier happens, and it's the same for growth. And then you're just subtracting 1 for decay and adding, subtracting from 1 for decay and adding to 1 for growth. Is there a day that you will go over logs? Yes. Yeah, I mean, we cycle through stuff. I'm not exactly sure what day we're going over logs next. It might be in the calendar for the rest of this month. If it's not, then we can do it maybe today if there is enough time. I don't think it's super important on either test to be super familiar with logs and know all the log rules, because you can just, as long as you know how a log translates to an exponential relationship, then you can just transfer it, to exponential stuff and then do exponent stuff, because exponents, I think, make way more sense in our heads. So if you get to exponents, then you can do all your exponent rules, and that's generally way more manageable. Okay, so now we are going to do, what are we doing? Yeah, I just want to write this up real quick. So growth is going to be, your outcome is going to be equal to that principal amount, whatever it was, then 1 plus your growth in percent, whatever it is, raised to the t power. There you go. Okay. So annoying. What is going on? Khan is decent tutorial on logs. Yeah, Khan is good. Compounded monthly. Oh, you want to do compounded monthly? Yeah, let's do that. What should we do? So let's say 3% annual interest, compounded monthly. $1,000 deposit. In this case, A equals that principal, and we're going to do 1 plus, and you could feasibly do minus. I don't know why you would need to compound something that's going down. I wouldn't worry about it. This is going to be, what do they normally do? R, right? R is the rate. Maybe I should have done that instead of rate, or sorry, decay and growth. But it's going to be R divided by 12, right? Because it's not the, so R, this is R. R is that 3% annual increase, or interest. So it's R divided by 12 because you are compounding 1/12 of the interest each month. So you're multiplying your original number by 1 plus 1/12 of your 3%, if that makes sense. Please let me know if that doesn't make sense. So we're not, every time we compound, we're not compounding at 3%. We're compounding at 1/12 of 3% because you're doing 1/12 of that 3 every month. Now we have to do it multiple times. We have to do it more times than we did before. It'll be 12t up here. So we've got, this one is going to be, coming down is this. Right? So we went from R to R divided by 12 because we're not compounding by 3%. We're compounding by 1/12 of 3% 12 times for each month, and that's where we're doing it 12 times the number of years, where t is in years. T is years. Who's calling me right now? Cannot pick that up. Sketchy Hat Man, does this make sense? That's the difference here. So it's not as much each month, but you're doing it for each month. So you have to multiply 12 times. Lovely. Okay. Let's see your question, Sketchy. I hope it's not too big for my phone. Okay, let me erase it. Is everybody good on this? Do you want me to not erase it? You want me to leave it up for a little bit? Depends on what Sketchy's question is, though, actually. Come on. Okay. Oh, yay. Okay. Yeah, I can do this without erasing that stuff, I guess. So we have, let's just make it a full sentence. The artist used tiny, tight stitches and several other techniques. Made that other stuff up, doesn't really matter. Okay, and we are checking on tiny, tight stitches. Okay, so I'm guessing the problem here is commas, and that's what tripped you up here. You're not exactly sure where they go. Okay, Sketchy Hat Man, do you know the 4 uses of commas? That's where we're going to start. This is a listing commas question for sure, right? Where do we want these commas? I'm not really going to pay attention to the answer choices at the moment. We have tiny and tight. Do they both describe stitches? Are they tiny stitches and tight stitches, or is tiny describing tight stitches? I think that they're both describing stitches, right? They're tiny stitches, they're tight stitches. So I would say here's the problem. It's not 3 different things. So you put commas between items in a list. This is a list here. This stitches is not part of the list. Okay? So we don't want commas. We don't want a comma here. We just want a comma to separate the items in this list. So the artist used tiny, tight stitches and several other techniques. We don't need another comma. I think there was an answer choice or 2 that has a comma, that have commas after stitches. You don't need that because your other list is stitches and several other techniques, right? You're doing those 2 things. So ignoring this now because this describes stitches, so it's an internal description. We have stitches and several other techniques. If you have and you only have 2 items in your list, you don't need the comma. So I don't know the answer. Let's see. The answer would be H. Does that make sense, Sketchy Hat Man? This approach. What I recommend you do is you're dealing with commas, right? So find your independent clause, and you didn't give the whole sentence, and clearly the independent clause isn't super important here. And then we want to see where there are lists. Lists can be just general nouns. It can be entire phrases. It can be adjectives. In this case, they're adjectives. So the adjectives are in a list, and then possibly the nouns are in a list. This isn't so much of a list of nouns because it's just used with the word and there are only two things, so you don't need any commas. Okay, said nothing, so I'm guessing you've got it. And then Neil asked the question. Neil, are you watching right now? I'm going to assume yes. I'm going to do this word problem here.
Turn the heat off.
Yeah, that would be good. Thank you. Okay, so Neil's word problem is on the Discord. We have Nala got 12 rulers for her birthday. Then Nala's sister asks Nala to share equally with her. The next day, Nala's friend gives her 3 times more of the ruler than... Whoa. Hey, Neil, where'd you get this question? Because I know it's a math question, but it's a whole heck of a lot of grammatical errors and spelling errors in the question itself. So I was getting a little confused. We actually talked about then versus than yesterday, and the question misuses then, if I read that correctly. But I am happy to do that question. It seems like maybe partially the problem was hard because it's really not even written correctly, grammatically. Let me know. Okay. Sketchy Hat Man, anything? Any questions? Anybody else? Any questions with this one? These parentheses aren't actually there. The answer was H to this question. You just want that comma there. Now you're good. Great. Any other commas questions? Listing commas are actually often very tricky for this reason. But outside of that, listing is pretty straightforward. And the non-essentials are generally the really tough part of commas. And commas are the really tough part of the English and writing and language sections for sure. But they're fun to teach. So, how did that happen? Anybody else have questions? I'm happy to do... I can do Neil's question. That's fine. I may not be able to understand it, to be completely honest, because of the grammar in it. Okay, so... Hi, Sealnani? Are you Neil? You might be Neil. Are you Neil in Discord? So Nala, 12 rulers. And then we have Nala's sister shares equally. Okay, so now we have Nala, we have sister. They seem to both have 6 because they're sharing equally. Yes? And then, the next day, Nala's friend gives her 3 times more of the ruler than she had before. After that, her brother asks for 5 rulers from her. Okay. Yeah, this is super ambiguous because it says she gets 3 times more rulers than she had before. Is that 3 times this or 3 times this? I don't know. That might be where you messed up on this question. But let me know. Really, yeah, this question is ambiguous, so I wouldn't worry about it. I'm going to assume that they mean this number. So if we're getting 3 times more than that, it's going to be plus 3 times 6, which is 18. So now she's got 24 rulers. And then her brother asks her for 5, so let's subtract 5. And now she has 19 rulers left, and that would be the answer. I think that's a relatively straightforward question. I've never seen anything like that on the SAT or ACT before, but also I think it's ambiguous. And I don't like ambiguity, especially in the questions. But I'm sure that's not an official question. Okay. Sketchy, we did this. Good. I'm going to hop to the data interpretation stuff, unless this is a question. My teacher's answer key says the answer is 37. Okay, if the answer is 37, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we're not taking 3 times, we're not adding 3 times this. So when it says somebody gives her 3 times the number of rulers she had before, it's giving her they're giving her 3 times this number of rulers, which is what she had at the beginning. So that means we're going to add 36. If we add 36, we're going to get 42. And then when you subtract 5 from 42, you get that 37 rulers. That's why. Questions? Yeah, it's just ambiguous. It wasn't clear with the way the question was worded. Also, it uses the word then when it should use the word than. So keep that in mind if you're doing the SAT or ACT. Other question, wait, so is this an example of PEMDAS? No, this is not an example of PEMDAS. This is an example of understanding what they meant to ask. They said gave her 3 times the number of rulers she had before, but I didn't know if this is 6 is the number of rulers she had before, or 12 was. It's just the way the question is worded. I wouldn't worry about that. It was just pretty ambiguous. If it had said 3 times the number of rulers she had at the very beginning, that would be much clearer. But no, PEMDAS I don't think is really related here. Yeah, no problem. Cool, Sketchy. Go for it, go for it. Yeah, if you're quick, then I can wait for you to do that, and then once we're there, then I will hop to data interpretation stuff, which should be pretty quick. It's more just an approach thing. It's not as though you have to know a bunch of stuff beyond what you've learned in school about reading graphs and tables and things like that. It's mainly focus. You have to answer exactly what the question is saying. It's like it's their version of the science section from the ACT, but on the SAT reading, which is kind of silly, but it's a good skill. You do need the skill of reading graphs. Faux show. Post it in Discord. Okay, let's do it. 55. Okay, very good. Okay, so 55, we have boat experts, right? That's what we're trying to figure out. You think the answer is B. Very good. Number 55. Auntie, what's up? Hello to you too. Boat experts. We have what's given, which is a period, and then, uppercase, whatever. We also have B, which is nothing. And then we have, I'm just going to ignore B then. Then we have a semicolon. We also have a comma. We have nothing. It says nothing. I just didn't want to write boat experts every time. Okay, I'm going to point out real quick that semicolons and periods are the same thing. They are used the same way on the test. Therefore, if you see a semicolon and a period in 2 different answer choices in exactly the same place and there is no other difference between those answer choices, they're both wrong. Does that make sense? Yes, Auntie. Oh, you're from that grade. Are you in high school and you're taking the SAT? Do you have parents taking the SAT? Do you have kids taking the SAT? But yes, I do remember that. I unfortunately would not be the one to chug milk if that were to happen again because I'm lactose intolerant and it's not worth that. So, this is wrong, and this is wrong because they are identical answers for all intents and purposes, which means that there's probably not an independent clause on both sides because that's what you need, of course, for a period and for a semicolon. Now, we have comma or we have nothing, so let's see. This is a long sentence. For example, in Emanuel Lutz's Washington Crossing the Delaware, the president strikes a noble pose on a boat. Experts now agree could not have been the vessel that carried the revolutionary leader across the river. I don't like this question. The answer is going to be as... Sealnani, do you want me to... How do I pronounce your name? You think you know the answer? Very good. I'm sorry that I gave it away, but this is what I think the answer is. These two are the same. The second phrase here doesn't make sense without the context of the first one. And the word that is implied. So, the president... I'm just going to really mess with this sentence. The president is on a boat. Experts believe could not have been there. Okay, so this is not the exact same sentence, but for the purposes of what we're doing, it is. Yes, I do write backwards super well. Thank you. It's something that I've practiced a great deal. So here, the president is on a boat experts believe could not have been there. Whatever. It's fine. That's what that means. If you are going to put a comma here, this is our independent clause, right? The president is on a boat. Yeah. Just so you know, I'm not writing backwards. We're just flipping the screen. So this is my right hand, even though it may look to you like it's my left hand. Like we are sort of facing each other, but that's my right and it's your right, which doesn't make any sense. It only makes sense because I'm flipping the screen. I hope that made sense. Got him is right. Okay. So let me just check the chat. I apologize. Yes. There you go. Now, if we have this as our oh, come on. This is our independent clause here, right? The president is on a boat. And then we have a comma. If we're going to have a comma there like there is in, I think D is the answer choice with the comma, then this next part is going to be a non-essential. It's not allowed to be an independent clause because then we would have a comma splice separating two independent clauses, not one of the ways we're allowed to separate them. So experts now believe could not have been there. This whole thing describes the boat, right? That's what it's describing. So if you say the president is on a boat, experts believe could not have been there, it doesn't explain it the right way. This word is implied. That, okay? The president is on a boat that experts believe could not have been there. Technically, it's not wrong to write this way. Does anybody have any questions on that? You don't want anything in there because that is implied. It's you say that very normally. You know, let's see. That's the guy over there. So there's some dude over there, right? And you say that's the guy my friends like, or that's the guy you were talking about. That's the guy. Or sorry, that's the thing that you were talking about, or that's the guy whom you were talking about. And even then, you're not supposed to end with the preposition. You're implying that or whom. You don't need to put that word in. It's very helpful. This question would be better if it did have that. It would be way easier as well. Thank you, Sealnani. Nani. Yeah, the word that is important. This is why eliminating answers is so important. You can eliminate these two, not only because they are the same exact thing, but you don't have an independent clause after the period or semicolon, so they have to be wrong. And then the comma, it's not a listing comma, it's not dependent clause, independent clause, it's not comma fanboys, so therefore it has to be a non-essential. Non-essential has to describe boat, but the way it's worded doesn't work. There's no, the direct object is not implied the right way. So experts believe the boat could not have been there. We would need it here or something, and it is not working. Okay, I got a math problem for you. I just want to see if you remember 8th grade math. -9 plus n equals 2. Okay, Antils. What do you want me to do with that? You didn't tell me something to do. I see an equation. Do you want me to solve for n? Add 9. You get n equals 11. This makes sense, yes? I hope. If it doesn't, let me know. I hope I did the right question. Ooh, do we have another question? Solve for n. Yeah, so you add 9 to both sides, because when you're isolating a variable, you do the reverse operation to get the n in this case on its own. Well, I had to think for a second. I had to recognize that it's an equation and I need to isolate a variable. Come on. What? What year in school are you, Antils? I haven't gotten many questions about Brendan and Brady's personal lives, which is a little sad. I would love to explain. So you are, Levi. Yes, so I am. That I be. They don't think it is. They don't think it be like it is, but it do. 8th grade. Got it. So, Neil, the questions you're posting on Discord are not quite at the level of the SAT and ACT, so I'm happy to get to them, but I do want to get through what I had planned to get through today. So that's the next thing that I'm doing, which is SAT data interpretation for the reading section. Okay. So for those of you watching, who is taking the SAT soonish? And do you want me to go over this? If nobody is taking the SAT that's watching right now, then I'm happy to not do that. Me, internet. Okay, so yeah, let's do it. I'll be quick. It's not like you need to know that much for this. Thank you for the follow, Disrupt. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Taking the ACT tomorrow. Oh, is that an international one, or is Is there an international ACT tomorrow? I was not paying enough attention. Yeah, me too. I'd be super sad for my whole family if I weren't. ACT tomorrow as well. Oh, whoa, okay. Yeah, let me just do this, and then we can talk about ACT stuff after that for sure, if you guys are taking tests. Let's put on the overlay. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Here's the overlay. Okay, I might lag for a sec. I'm looking for... yeah, I might lag. Who knows? I'm going to the reading section, and I'm doing... Oh, I went the wrong way for sure. Yay! Okay. I think... One second. Thank you, Disrupt. Okay. Just had to make something full screen so I could read this a little bit better. I want to go to... here we go. All right, number 19. Yeah, good luck with your tests for sure. Also, feel free to ask me questions about, nerves and what to eat and what to sleep, that type of thing. This is SAT. This right now is SAT. It's only for the SAT. So I'm going to hop through it, and then we can do ACT stuff for the rest of the time since there's a test tomorrow. Test on a Wednesday. Yeah, I guess they do that. Okay. Now, we're going to... Ooh, what's this? Thank you for the follow, Rainbow Canoe. Number 19, we're going to do. This is a data interpretation question. It's very easy to recognize these questions because they talk about the graph. They're not going to be sneaky about it. This one, it says, data in the graph about per pound coffee profits in Tanzania most strongly support which of the following statements? Okay, there's not much to go off of in the question, right? They're not asking something specific. They're just saying, okay, the graph supports which of these things. So we basically need to look through all four of them and specifically say, does it do this? Does it do this? Like that, okay? That's what we'll do. I apologize for the chat again. Or no, you guys don't really see the problem, but I see the problem, and it's annoying. Okay, so let's go back. We're going to go to the graph, and we're looking for per pound coffee profits, and let's look at A. So we're looking at A right now, and it says fair trade coffee consistently earned greater profits than regular coffee earned. So fair trade profit is higher. That's what we're doing. Ignore this. So we're saying fair trade earned higher profits. Let's see. Fair trade is right here. It's the dotted line with the thingies. And then regular coffee is right here. And clearly the fair trade is way above. But I just want to make sure that we're doing, so it's clearly way above, but in what? We need to be very, very focused and logical about this. What is on the y-axis? It's higher. Great. It says amount US cents per pound. Regular coffee profits compared to fair trade coffee profits in Tanzania. Okay. I kind of like this. It looks like fair trade coffee made more money or made more profit, and that's what letter A asked. But I don't want to stop. You're not supposed to try to identify the right answer right away. I don't recommend that because you make mistakes. That's what they're going for. And I can see it when my students get stuff wrong because they put the... it's very easy to see, actually. It's when half of the questions they get wrong, because they're doing well, but half the questions they get wrong, the right answer is C or D. If the right answer is C or D on most of the questions you get wrong, you're probably not reading all of them. So that's what we need to make sure we're doing. I like A, but let's move on. B. The profits earned from regular coffee did not fluctuate. That's what we're looking at now. The profits earned from regular coffee did not fluctuate. So regular coffee didn't fluctuate. Yeah, it did. Look at that. It fluctuated. So B is definitely wrong. We're just being very, very, and I actually like crossing out specific words that I dislike in answer choices. With that way, you're not just crossing off answers and then maybe later when you're analyzing what you did wrong or on the actual test day, you're going back and doing something last minute, you know exactly what you thought specifically, not just, I didn't like this answer in general. So I'm going to cross out not and fluctuate because, yeah, it did. Okay. C. Fair trade coffee profits increased between 2004 and 2006. So fair trade profits went up 04 to 06. 04 to 06, fair trade coffee went up. No. So I actually took a second there because I was looking at this one, but that's not fair trade. Fair trade stayed very consistent. So don't like that one because it's talking about the wrong type of coffee. So increased. No, they did not increase. So maybe we could cross out fair trade because that's not the one that increased, or we're looking at fair trade, so it did not increase. And D, we have fair trade and regular coffee were earning equal profits by 2008. I'm not even going to go back here. They were not earning equal profits at any point. And maybe they did eventually, but the graph wouldn't be showing that. So I don't like that because I don't like the word equal. I hope I got the word there. Nope. Is it there? It's kind of behind something. Okay. Any questions on this? I think there might be one more. Let's check. Yes. Okay, so let's... Data in the graph provide most direct support for which idea in the passage? Okay. I'll start erasing this and thinking about this question. Now, this is... You need to be careful on these questions. It's not just talking about the graph. It's talking about the passage now. But don't get caught up by that either, because they're not asking, what did the passage say? They're asking, make sure the passage said this, but also make sure the graph said this. So something might be true in the answer choices, and the passage said it, but it's not what the graph supports. Hope that makes sense. So in this question, and I also haven't read this passage in a while, so it's possible I'm a little off, but I'll let you know. We have acting on empathy can be counterproductive. Okay. Fair trade coffee means that people are paid good wages when they're, getting the coffee bean, and I don't know how coffee is made, honestly. Whatever. I don't drink it. Don't drink it. Don't drink coffee. It's probably better for you in the long run. I don't like A, because acting on empathy goes along with fair trade coffee, and they're saying it can be counterproductive, but the graph, all the graph shows, as we said in number 20, or number 19 actually, is that fair trade coffee was better than regular coffee the whole time. So I don't like A. It's not counterproductive, at least as shown in the graph. B, ethical economics is defined by character. Okay, maybe. That, to me, honestly sounds like a bunch of jargon, but the question is, data in the graph provide most direct support for which idea? I don't know if this idea is in the passage, B, but I do know that it's not in the graph. What does the graph have to do with character? And ethical economics being defined by that? That's such a huge idea, and all this graph shows is that fair trade coffee did better than regular coffee over a number of years, right? Got more profit. So this is, what I normally write next to these is unsupported. Might be true, but not supported by the graph. Please let me know if you have questions. Ethical economics is still possible. Yeah, maybe. It did have a good showing for ethical economics, if we're saying ethical economics is like fair trade coffee, or fair trade coffee is an example of ethical economics, because it did well. So I'm going to leave C. I'm fine with it. D, people fear losses more than they hope for gains. I have no idea how that could possibly relate to the graph. So this D is also unsupported, leaving us with answer C. Now, you don't have to know that C is the right answer off the bat. You don't have to say, oh, C is definitely correct. I don't advocate that approach of trying to figure that type of thing out. It's way easier to poke holes in answer choices, because you don't have to do this whole big test and they feel like they're trying to trick you, and there's, oh, but this answer could be right if I kind of twist my mind around it and convince myself that it's right. Don't convince yourself that things are right. Try to poke holes. You won't make as many mistakes. That's how we went through this problem. I was okay with C, so I moved on. I didn't choose it. I didn't say, oh, that's the right answer, I'm done. I looked at D as well, but now I'm sure. Okay, if there are any questions, let me know. But I'm not going to do another one of these. They're relatively straightforward. Generally, there are no really hard data interpretation questions on the SAT reading section. They might be a little complicated, but you want to work through them very logically and methodically. If you do, and I'm sorry I say it so many times, but that's what you have to do. It's being very careful about all the pieces. Do all the pieces, poke holes in wrong answers. Do not try to choose the right answer until you're left with only two, maybe, and then you're choosing. But don't all answers kind of deal with the same idea? Because I'm confused how C is supported. Okay, got it. So I hope it would definitely help to read the passage. But let's go back to the graph. The passage is about fair trade coffee. I honestly don't know. What is this passage about? Recent debates about the economy have rediscovered the question, is that right? Where right means more than just profits and efficacy, or efficiency. Economists, okay, so it's actually... Okay, so it's actually... Gotta go. Hope everyone does great tomorrow. And once again, thank you, Nerdish. Yeah, no problem, Disrupt. Have a good night. Good luck. I don't think you're taking the test, but if you are, good luck. If you're not, good luck. Maybe see you another time. Okay, so this passage is actually not about fair trade coffee. It's about ethical economics, right? Trying to be a nice person when you're also trying to make money. It's saying that efficiency and money are not the only factors of value in business decisions necessarily. And then this graph is showing that fair trade coffee, which, you know, should have been defined somewhere. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Is there any fair trade coffee stuff in here? Yeah. See ya. I don't actually see fair trade coffee, and that's fine. Yeah, well, we have to... Maybe they did define it somewhere. Maybe I'm just missing it. But we have fair trade coffee, and that's... The jump you are allowed to make and actually have to make for this question is fair trade coffee means ethical economics. Fair trade means ethical economics. It is an example of that. When you make that jump, this is supported. Ethical economics is still possible, because if this is still possible, or if this is saying that fair trade is better than, what is it, regular coffee, right? So if we're saying fair trade's better than regular coffee, that supports the idea that ethical economics is still possible. D is not supported because people fear losses more than they hope for gains. Losses and gains, that's too big a jump. Where are we getting that from? Especially in the graph itself. It's not asking what does the passage say. It's asking data in the graph most directly support which idea. Does that make sense, Hono? Let me know if it does not. Ugh. Great. Sounds good. Okay, that's all I'm going to do here. It's all about approach for those questions. You don't have to know a lot. You just need to know I'm always going to say, well, it said something bigger, so I'm going to look here, and oh, this is higher, but what does it mean? I have to look at the y-axis, and I have to look at the x-axis, and I have to define all my terms, try to make connections that are necessary, and then always prove 3 wrong. We're trying to eliminate answers. It's way better. Way, way better. Okay, I'm going to pull off the overlay. Are there any more questions in the Discord? Neil, if you're still here, say hi, because nobody else has asked the question, so I can do the question that you put there. But yes, please ask your questions. I'm going to turn the overlay off. I'm going to turn it off. Don't think I won't. Oh. Huh? Yes, there we go. Turning it off now. Yes, it worked. Okay, very good. Don't have the best eyesight in the room. Well, I do. But it's also the worst. Okay, seems like nobody else has asked a question, but also Neil, if you're here, say hi so I can do the question. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk here and look silly. Actually, at this point, yeah, seems like there are no questions. Oh wait, I'm gonna. Okay. There you are. Very good. Okay, I'll do your question. So Susie has 12 sharpeners. So we're starting with Susie having 12 sharpeners. Then her dad gave her 2 times more sharpeners than she had before. Okay, so he gave her double that. So 12 times 2 is 24. He gave her 24 more, so we're going to add 24 sharpeners. And now we have 36 sharpeners. The next day, 2 of her sisters asked her to share equally with them. Ah. Okay, so now she's got to share equally with her 2 sisters. So this is Susie. This is sister 1. This is sister 2. And they have to just share it equally. So now that's going to be dividing this into 3 equal parts, which will be 12, 12, and 12. From there, after that, her little brother asks for 2 sharpeners. Okay, I'm assuming he's asking Susie, so we have to subtract 2 from that 12, and now we have 10. And that's what the answer is. Questions? Let me know. Also, ask more questions, everybody, and I will answer them. I feel like a lot of you don't know Brady and Brendan super well because a lot of you seem to be pretty new, which is cool. Wait, so yes. I'm thirsty. How did you get from 26 to the 3 12s? So 36, and the sister, her sister, she had 2 sisters, and they asked to split the sharpeners equally with her. So she's got to split that equally between herself, sister 1, and sister 2. So 3 equal parts of 36 would be 12s. Questions? Wow, I'm really dehydrated. So she is, oh yeah, okay. Neil, is English your first language, and is English the first language of the people who asked these questions or who made these questions? Because I'm going to say that it's definitely not the first language of the people who made the questions. Yeah, it is kind of hard to see, but 2 of her sister, would mean that she has 2 sisters. They both asked her to split them equally between the 3 of them. The SAT and ACT, either one, both, will be significantly more clear about what situationally is going on. Ooh, what's going on? Okay. Any other questions? You got to ask your questions, otherwise, I don't know. You know what? Let's do, oh, okay. No problem. Keep your voice down, though. I'm going to talk about this thing in the corner here. So this is Alta Ipsum. Alta Ipsum is one of our sponsors. What they do is they have an online tool that allows you, it's a big organizer for your academic life, and maybe other things if that's what you're into, but it means summit yourself. It allows you to track your grades from school. It allows you to track your classes, your homework, to organize, all of those things. So what you do is you set up a free account. It's a free account for the first month, and you can put in all your classes. You can put in all your homework assignments, all your grades, all of those things. And it allows you to create customizable study plans and work plans so that you can keep your life a little bit more organized. So it's executive functioning stuff. It's super, super useful, especially if you have trouble committing to things. There's a point system that's pretty fun. You could also put Nerdish in there if you wanted to. And then it would remind you to watch Nerdish every night, and that would go along with our, all the emails if you're following us and things like that to tell you when we're live. But super useful tool. It's not there anymore, but in a second it'll be back. So that's Alta Ipsum. And then there's Accelerate, which is our tutoring company. It's that's private tutoring though. We don't only do SAT and ACT, which is what we are doing here. you know, if there are enough people watching eventually, or enough people who know about this, then maybe we can, you know, branch out into not only SAT and ACT. But for now, that's what we're doing. Are you doing ACT now? Yeah? Oh, we can. That would be great. Yes, I agree. So what do you want to do? You want to do math? You want to do English? Ask me questions. They can be general. They can be specific questions you've done for practice. I'm glad it would be good. Let me know what you want. Math. Okay. What math? Where's mine? Okay. Things you should know for tomorrow. There's so much. Do you want like just general tips about what to eat and what to wear, or you know what to bring, that type of thing? Yes. There you go, Sketchy. Thank you. Bring a calculator. Bring extra batteries. Bring an extra calculator. Wear clothes. Yes, do wear clothes. Not because it'll necessarily make you more comfortable, although I assume it would, but because they won't let you in otherwise. General tips for testing. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to do the whole thing of saying just relax. Yeah, sure, just relax. But I would say the main thing is doing things that will make you relax on a more chemical level, which means eating correctly, sleeping correctly. So eat, sleep, and run. That's the one that people don't tell you to do because I think it's a little silly. This is actually what I did during my SAT, not during the testing sections themselves, but when you have the breaks in between some of the sections, you need to get out of your seat and you need to get your blood flowing. So if that means doing pull-ups in the bathroom or doing push-ups on the floor or like jumping up and down or laughing or you know squeezing your fist because you don't want other people to see you being weird or whatever, or if you have a friend, talk to them, laugh, jump around, do things like that. Get your blood flowing because it will allow your brain to turn off for a second. Your brain needs a break. You don't want to, you know, do the, what are you doing, ACT tomorrow, right? So don't do the English section and then be thinking about those questions. They're done. Think about them after the test if you want to do that to yourself. But you have to try to let them go as much as possible. Don't try to do these mental gymnastics to let them go or figure them out or convince yourself you did well or not. Do other stuff. Don't think about the ACT for the next, you know, the 10-minute break you have. How many hours of sleep do we need? Up to you. Do your normal thing that allows you to feel awake. So you're having a normal week of school. If you get up for school at 7:30 or 6:30 or whatever it is, get up at that time. Be normal. Try to be as normal as possible. If you have to get up a little earlier, got to do it. Eat beforehand. Bring food to it. Bring water to it. You want all of those things. You want your body to have the stuff that it needs to survive normally, physically, chemically. Take care of that. You can do that regardless of what's going on in your brain. And it will allow your brain to relax, hopefully, more so than it would if you didn't do those things. So I'm not going to give you a specific hour number for sleep, but, you know, what do people say? 8 hours? Do that. That'll be fine. Any other questions? Also, if you feel like you're freaking out during a particular section and you got 20 minutes left and you got 20 problems left or whatever it is, take the 10 seconds you might need to breathe if that's going to help you. Or go back and check an easy math problem so that you know, okay, I'm doing this right. Something like that. Give yourself some sort of reward or rest if you really are starting to lose control. Anything else? There are so many different things. I'm not going to tell you things that definitely work for everybody. I think that drinking water and eating well and sleeping enough work for everybody. But then beyond that, kind of person to person. Does the ACT have matrix problems? If so, can you go over a problem that the test might show? Yes. Also, notice in Sketchy Hat Man's question, ignoring the comma splice thing there, at the end it says, if so, can you go over a problem the test might show? Sketchy Hat Man implied the word that. Can you go over a No, don't. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, sorry. But can you go over a problem that the test might show? But they didn't put in that, and it's fine. It's still clear. So that was what was on that other English question that I think Sketchy posted. Yeah, comma splice. Also, I would say that you want a comma after so, but nobody. I mean, Neil, you should probably put a comma after ha 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 because that's a non-essential. And you probably need a period. But yeah, I mean, I'll be semantic with your comments all day. I'm sure that's really where you want the help. Okay. What are we doing now? Sorry, I just totally forgot. Oh, matrices. Yeah, let's do a matrix thing. What is your level with matrices right now? Is it you don't know how to do matrices at all, you've never seen them, or you know how to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, scalar multiplication, determinant, all those things? Do you know? You're in Calc AB. Okay. Determinant mostly. Great. Yeah, determinant's pretty straightforward. They won't ask you about a determinant for anything aside from a 2x2 matrix. So a 2x2 matrix is A, B, C, D, and the determinant of this matrix is going to be AD minus BC. You take these two guys, multiply them together, and subtract these two guys from that. That's it. I can give you a problem on it, though, that's actually kind of interesting. Kind of, sort of. They might say something like this. I think this is on a practice test I saw at some point recently. Or I know it is, I just don't know what test it was. They'll say something like the determinant of k 3 negative 2k equals, I don't know, 4. And they'll say, what does k equal? The determinant. It is a value. To be completely honest, it depends on, I don't know what it would necessarily mean. It depends on the context for which the matrix is used. So if the matrix is about ticket prices, then it would be, the difference between those ticket prices, the product of those ticket prices and these ticket prices. I don't know why you would want to know that, but there are situations where the determinant does help you. You don't need to worry about that. You just need to be able to solve the determinant of, or find the determinant of a 2x2 matrix, which is that every time you don't have to worry about anything else. Now, they're generally not going to just ask you that straight up, give you a bunch of numbers, and then have you solve it. Wait, wouldn't k be undefined in that situation? Possibly. I just made this up. It might be. So what you have to do here is do that. You think, oh, well, they said the determinant is 4. What do I do? Well, just do it and see what happens. So in this case, we're going to do AD, so k squared, minus that, so that's going to be plus 6, right? Minus a negative 6 equals 4. So k squared equals negative 2. So k equals rad 2I. So yeah, it's k is imaginary. Sorry, plus or minus rad 2I. So yeah, I kind of messed it up. I didn't give you something that you could solve nicely for k. Also, I know there are 3 variable and 3 function systems of equations. How would you use matrices to solve that? Well, let me think about this. I haven't used matrices to solve things like that in a long time. You can, oh yeah, you're trying to get stuff to be 0. To be completely honest, I don't want to figure that out and teach you at the same time, and I wouldn't worry about it. But it has some, you can look it up. I'm sure it's on Khan Academy. It has something to do with getting all of the, all the different, because you put the coefficients, you have to line up the equations in terms of their terms, you know, so the x, the y, the z, the w, whatever they are, and then equals whatever. And then you have to reduce each line to zeros and ones or something like that, and then you add them all. I don't exactly remember. It doesn't really matter. So a system of three equations. Let's say we have x plus y minus 2z equals that, and we have xy equals xyz. Say xz equals 4. And we also have 2y minus 3z plus 8x. And that's going to be... So here's our system of three equations with three variables. This... let me give this a sec. How do you use matrices to solve three function systems of equations? Yeah, just I would say look it up. It's not. I have never seen a question that requires you to solve a system of equations with matrices. If you can solve a system of equations with matrices, you can just solve the system of equations. So I wouldn't try to get into something totally new like that, to be completely honest. With this, I would say use substitution because it's still a system of equations. You can solve any system of equations if it has as many equations as it does variables that you do not know. What I mean by that is if you have, a normal two equation system of equations, you use substitution, you use elimination. I like substitution better because it also works for multiple things more easily. There aren't so many examples that make it impossible. Actually, there are not. So for here, what we want to do is use substitution. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to say that x equals, I'm going to add 2z, I'm going to subtract y, so I get 2z minus y minus 6. So x equals that. And then I'm going to plug that in down here to this guy for x. So now I've gotten rid of the x. Do I want to do that? No. I'm going to actually do the same thing but for y here. Yeah, just do it for y. I could also maybe be making this harder for myself. No. Sorry. Did I ask a question and then you said no to it? Or are you saying no to something else, or you're saying I made a mistake? I could have made a mistake. Totally possible. Oh gosh, I hate this. You do. Hey, Q Perot. Parrot? Unless Neil wants to, I don't wanna. Hit enter too early. Got it. I didn't want to waste your time doing algebra. Oh, this stuff? Got it, got it. Okay, yeah. Then let's not. But yeah, you're using substitution to put stuff in. Very good. Yeah. Thank you, Sketchy Hat Man, for stopping me, because if you don't want it and nobody else wants it, then we just won't do it. We'll do other stuff. What do you guys want? Anything else? We have a little more than 10 minutes. So whatever you want to work on, let's do it. You can post some questions. Somebody just joined the server. Thank you for joining the server, whoever that was. Oh, Q Pro. Hey, Q Pro there and here. What's up? Do you have any questions on the ACT or SAT? I'd actually like to stick to the ACT for the next 10-ish minutes because people are actually taking the test tomorrow, which I didn't know. Sorry, I didn't know that. Okay. Going to erase this. Oh, that's what I wanted. This is much better. Can you do some PEMDAS questions? Yes. Wait, serious question. Neil, didn't you say that you were in Calc BC? I may have assigned that to you when that was somebody else who said that. But I'm more than happy to do PEMDAS questions. Interesting. Okay, cool. Gonna fix this stupid chat garbage. Oh, ACT essay. Chesky's here. Hey, what's up? You're a little late, Chesky. Okay. Neil, you want ACT essay stuff? Yes. Let's do that. Actually, let me check something. We might have... why is this not working so well? Oh, I see. We may have... Yeah, no, we should be good. Nope, we shouldn't be good. Oh yeah, okay. We had a couple cram sessions for the ACT. A couple when it was offered in the U.S. What was that? 2 weeks ago ish. And during those, I talked about the ACT essay. So I would go back to there, because that would take us to the end of stream. So if anybody else has any shorter questions, I'll do those. If not, I'm happy to do the ACT essay again. But it is, I think it's on Friday before the ACT. You can go back to our old, our recorded videos on Twitch or on YouTube, doesn't matter, and you can check there. Up to you. It seems like nobody else has questions, so I am more than happy to do the essay. Cool, let's do it. Just a second. ACT essay. Oh, it is. Okay. Oh, this is the in-school one, right? Where you have it in school? Or am I making that up too? Yeah, I mean, it's the same root word. Right? It's the same idea, but yeah, in your home country. Like, it's the word domestic means home, I think, or more or less. So like domestic versus international airports, Anyway, ACT essay. They give you a blurb, right? They give you, so let's say the question is, I think one of the practice ones is on, okay, Neil, okay. Do you want me to talk about this? I'm going to talk about this and ignore that. ACT essay. They'll give you a blurb on whatever the topic is. So let's say the topic of music. They're talking about music, and they say that music is becoming more and more accessible and totally free to everybody. Everybody can access anybody else's music at any time for free, and therefore artists don't get paid for every time that their music is played. And therefore they don't make money off of that. So perspective one says that artists make less money. Artists get more recognition. Listeners are happier. Okay, so here are the three perspectives. And you're told, okay, so a lot of people say that access to music, free access to music easily is bad. A lot of people say it's good. And these three perspectives are: artists make less money, so it's bad, and artists get more recognition, so it's good, and listeners are happier, so it's good. And you say, you know what, I think I can write an essay and support it about music access being very good. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your opening paragraph and you're going to have your thesis. You're going to say access is good. Don't write in those words. Access is good. But that's essentially what your thesis is. And then you need to support it. What they need is they require you to incorporate and analyze these three perspectives in your essay. They don't necessarily have to be each of the, you don't have to have 3 body paragraphs and each of them are these things, but you need to address all of these. What I like to do is I like to say, okay, so access is good. Why is access good? Well, my first piece of support is artists make more money. And I'm actually going to incorporate P1 and P2 here. I'm going to say, people say that artists don't make a lot of money because when people listen, they don't pay the artists. Well, that's true to an extent. But at the same time, artists are recognized more because nobody has to pay for their music. So the artists can get more and more famous and then go on tour and make money. So artists actually make more money by having free access to their music. So that's what I'm arguing in paragraph 1. So it helps the artists because access is good. And then we'll say number 2 is that more people can listen. So people get to appreciate it. So this is going to incorporate perspective 3 because listeners are happier because they don't have to pay. Hey, what is the symbol after the word less in the first perspective? Money. So I have those two. And feasibly, those could be your 2 arguments, right? Artists make more money, so that's good, and then more people can listen. Those can be your 2 things, and then you can conclude it. Or you can come up with another argument. Let's see. So why would access to music be good? It creates new industries. Or let's say, so new industries, so like Spotify and things like that. So you're Spotify, Pandora, which are free to use, but they have that freemium model. You can't even see that, but Spotify and Pandora for new industries or new companies or whatever. And they get access to other people, but they're free, so anybody can listen to anything they want, or they can buy the premium version and not have to listen to ads, right? You could have another thing that's, more things like that. But basically, you have your thesis, and then you have your support. You have to incorporate these, and you have to analyze them, right? You have to give your thoughts on them and argue, does this make sense? Does it not? I wouldn't recommend referencing and saying, perspective 1 says this, and perspective 2 says this. You should say, proponents of this idea say this, and opponents of this idea say this, and that's wrong because of that. Right? So that's how I would introduce those ideas. And then you want to have context. So this is what's going to help you a lot with getting one of the higher scores on this essay. You need to give context. So you don't want to just say in a vacuum, free access to music is a good thing. You want to say music, like anything else, is a resource to our society that we can, whose success we can measure by the amount of happiness it brings to our society, right? So we've given context. What we care about is society, the utility of music with regards to societal happiness. And then we can say free access is good because, and then you go into it. And you always bring it back to your thesis and to the context. So artists make more money. You incorporate these. Well, artists making more money makes them happier, also lets them make more music, and then other people are happy, right? So then you're attaching it to access being good and the context of people being happy because they get to make money. Money is fine. Number 2, same type of deal. Okay? Anybody have any questions on this? This is necessary to get a decent score. This, I think, is necessary to get a very good score. Now, of course, you need to have good grammar and spelling and make sense and have good arguments in general. But that's how I'd go about this. Looks like there are no questions. Ooh, what do we got? Thanks. Very good. Okay, for those of you who are taking the test tomorrow, good luck. Have a good time. Sleep tonight. Eat tonight. Sleep. And then, drink water. Drink a lot of water tomorrow. Maybe not too much so you need to go to the bathroom during the sections. Get up. Move around in between sections. Bring a calculator. Bring an extra calculator. Bring extra batteries. Also, I just wanted to say that another industry would be Rhythm Bot from Discord. Oh, yeah. I've actually never used that. But yes, all of those things. So you can certainly bring those things in. I wouldn't make up facts. Don't make up facts. Don't say RhythmBot has 7 million users or something like that, because you don't know. If you do know, great, but they're probably not going to believe you if you have something that specific. Just say RhythmBot is an extremely popular thing with whatever and whomever, other people, that type of thing. Any last minute questions, please ask them now for the test tomorrow. And for those of you who are not taking the test tomorrow, and even those who are, we will see you next time. Tomorrow night and Thursday night, and then we're off for the weekend. Thanks for the help. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Yes, I excused her. Never really... Sally's fine. She's fine. Just a little bit much when she gets drunk at Thanksgiving. Okay, all good? Good luck tomorrow, and I'll see some or all of you soon. Good night.